Welcome everyone, my name's Soph, and this is my attempt to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum with only Fire-type Pokemon. The rules for this run are listed down below, but put simply, only the first Fire-type encounter in each route or area can be caught. If a Pokemon faints, it must be permanently boxed. No items except held items in battle. Party Pokemon levels are limited to the next gym leader or the final league member's ace. And finally, the battle mode must be put on set at all times. Now, we all know how infamous the Gen 4 games are when it comes to Fire types. In Diamond and Pearl, we got just two of them during the main part of the game, Infernape and Rapidash. Yep, that's it. Luckily, by the time Platinum came around, it seems that Game Freak realized their error and added a few more for us to work with, giving us a grand total of 5 Fire-type evolutionary lines being available before the postgame. Looking at all of these, it's quite evident that they share many weaknesses, and in addition to that, Fire-types are known for being quite frail, so this should be an interesting one. Now, Platinum getting some extra Fire-types is definitely a treat, but for even better treats, you can check out the sponsor of today's video, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. Tokyo Treat is a monthly Japanese snack subscription box that includes up to 20 of the latest exclusive limited edition and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks available that month. And if you're looking for the most traditional and authentic artisan snacks that Japan offers, you can check out the Sakurako box, which includes Japanese teas and one special Japanese tableware too. Sakurako helps in partnering with local Japanese snack makers to continue to share Japanese culture and traditions that have been passed down for over 100 years. This month's Tokyo Treat theme is Snack in Shibuya and includes an incredibly helpful cultural guide booklet to explain everything you get in your box. The Quattro cheese scone snacks were amazingly flavorful, and if I'm honest, I couldn't stop eating them. I'm a big fan of Kit Kat too, so you can imagine my pleasant surprise that the box included a pudding-flavored one which I didn't even know existed. This month's Sakurako theme was a taste of Hokkaido, and I absolutely loved the snacks in this box. The Japanese Castella cakes were delicious, and I love that you get a tableware too, like this month's 4-season soup bowl, which is quite gorgeous. Right now, you guys can use code SOPH for $5 off your first Tokyo Treat or Sakurako box using the links on screen and below in the description. Make sure you order by May 31st so you can receive this month's box. Thanks to Tokyo Treat and Sakurako for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into the run. Alright, Mr. Rowan, what have you got for me? Whoa, that thing's a fucking ninja. Can I have one of those? No. You're not ready for this Pokemon yet. What? It's just a little bunny. Why not? Oh, it's time to begin our journey and... No, Barry, don't check my... It wasn't me, I swear. This ad just popped up on my computer all of a sudden and Escaping from that awkwardness, welcome everyone to Twinleaf Town. Wait a minute, it's the middle of the summer, why is there snow on the ground? What is that? Alright, in all seriousness, it's time to pick our starter Pokemon, and in this run we actually get to use our starter, a Chimchar, probably my least picked starter out of the Gen 4 runs I've done if I'm honest, so I'm excited for this. Now, the battle with Barry was way too close for comfort. Usually that nail-biting quality comes later in the run, but we made it through. Now, I've got to tell you, the water main in my apartment burst at 3 AM the morning before I played this, so for some reason my first instinct was that Dawn had said that she was 60 years old, and I was like, what? Anyway, I decided to nickname Chimchar Diggory, and Diggory ends up having a naive plus speed and minus special defense nature, which is pretty good as we'll need that speed to be as high as possible. Rowan then gives us the return TM, which I think should be quite handy once Diggory actually likes us. Up ahead, Dawn gives us some Pokeballs for wasting our time, meaning the run has officially begun. We quickly arrive in Jubilife City where we meet International Police member Looker, who coincidentally just compromised the entire globe's safety by virtue of telling 2 children who he is. Great covert operation. Come to think of it, where was the International Police when Team Aqua was trying to drown 8 billion people? In the trainer school, I'm reminded of a painful fact. Normally when you battle these 2 kids in the originals, they award you with the Hidden Power TM, and even in the remakes, BDSP, they give you 3 workup TMs, which are fantastic. But in this game, they give you 1 singular potion. That shit. I thought this was supposed to be an upgraded version. Up ahead, Looker distracted me at the entrance to this route. What can I say? He's quite a looker. And made me completely forget about the Barry battle, and I am painfully underleveled. Uh-oh. Barry leads with his Starly, and thankfully he repeatedly used Growl to lower our attack, but we have the special attacking Ember anyway, so we could take him down unharmed as we level up. In comes Piplup though, which is a major problem. He resists Ember, but our attack is way too low for tackle, so we can only do chip damage to him. He uses Growl a couple times before hitting us with Pound for 20% damage. It was looking to be very close, but we ended up getting a crit to bring him to the red, and we eventually burned him with one, which I was hoping for much earlier, so we got left with 7 HP. Don't know how we managed that, but I'm glad we did. In the Orberg Gate, we're given the Rock Smash HM, which in theory might make the first gym possible, but I have an even better plan. Orberg City is upon us, quite a nostalgic place for me, and of course one of the girls in the houses just has to ruin that by saying, "Don't you think rock-type Pokemon are nice? I like how lumpy they are." You a real freak, aren't you? The Orberg Gym is upon us, and of course it has to be a Rock-type gym that resists both fire and normal moves, our only two types at the moment. However, since Ember is a special move and Geodude has terrible special defense, we're able to take down the trainers with relative ease. Before the gym leader, I hit up the mine to grind against Zubat exclusively for speed EVs, and here is the one fortunate thing about this gym. The level cap is 14, which is exactly the level at which Chimchar evolves into a beautiful Monferno, which, yup, now gets the fighting type and the priority Mach Punch move at that level. What a saving grace that is. Still, I'm not getting too excited. Rourke's team is crazy for us. Speaking of which, it's time for the first gym leader. He leads off with a level 12 Geodude, and despite being super effective, Mach Punch does less than half. Oof. He then hits us with Rock Throw for a quarter, then another round of that brings us below half. This causes him to potion though, but a few more do the job after that. In comes his Onyx next, and Mach Punch does about a third before Rock Throw hits us to a quarter. Another one doesn't quite take him down in the red, and then he hits us again, and gets a crit down to just 2 HP. And then he heals again. Oh. Knowing Mach Punch wouldn't KO, I went for Ember here just in case we got the burn, but no burn and no KO, but he misses Rock Throw. Oh man. His final Pokemon is a Cranidos, and it all depends if we can one-hit KO, but we don't, and he smashes us with Headbutt to end the run. Ouch. You know, I thought the evolution and Mach Punch would have sufficed, but nope, we need more. A reset of the game got us a Gentle Nature on our next Chimchar, which is minus defense, and I just know that that won't work out, so cue attempt number 3. This time I named our starter Victor, and he ended up having a lax nature plus defense and minus special defense, which might work out. I made sure to be very adamant about EV training our attack against wild Shinxes, and we were able to get about 40 before approaching the level cap since they give about 25 XP each. On this attempt, just as I was hoping, we do over half on Geodude with Mach Punch so we can avoid him healing and take him out in 2 attacks. Onyx, however, somehow tanks our attacks just as well, if not better, so I decided to hit him once, then use Leer to lower his defense. That way we ensure Mach Punch KOs and he doesn't potion, but we just barely didn't KO, although thankfully 2 more could take him out, although we're pretty low on HP, but we do get the level up. In comes the Cranidos, and I am terrified. One Mach Punch just barely doesn't KO in the red, he hits us with Headbutt, but we survive on 5 HP and can out-prioritize him for the win. Whew. A tough challenge, but a well-deserved first gym badge, I would say. Our journey brings us to the Ravaged Path, where we can pick up the Rock Tomb TM, which I think might be great against flying types, which would otherwise be a lot of trouble right now. Loroma Town is our next destination, and here we can finally get some much-needed Oran Berries, which would have been real helpful earlier. I simply love it here. The atmosphere is so uplifting. You came to get emotionally healed too, didn't you? How did you... I didn't know he was in the toaster when I turned it on. It's time to deal with Team Galactic and... Oh, you son of a... Now, in the Valley Windworks, we have a bit of a conundrum. With the level cap and only 1 Pokemon, I'm worried about overtraining Victor, but we have a tough battle up ahead, Commander Mars. With no choice, I have to go in a bit lower level than I would hope, but we do have a reasonable type matchup against her, especially after teaching Victor the Rock Tomb TM. She leads with a Zubat, which would otherwise be big trouble, and Rock Tomb slams it, but it survives on a sliver before just using Bite. Much better than Toxic. From there, I take it down with a priority Mach Punch to ensure accuracy. In comes what is usually a massive and surprising threat, Perugly. She goes for Fake Out immediately, and then we can go for Mach Punch on the next turn, which brings her right to half, before Scratch brings us below half, and then our berry activates. Now, weirdly enough, it seems that we didn't put her into Citrus Berry range, yet our next Mach Punch actually takes her down to KO. That was incredible. We put her right at the precise perfect HP to hit her and yet not activate her berry. I'll take it. Alright, that XP number had to be intentional. That cat is evil. Now, Eterna Forest is usually a bit of a challenge with the double battles with Cheryl, but having a fire type makes it quite a smooth ride with mostly bug and grass types. In no time, we make it to Eterna City where the second gym is. Now, I was playing this game on Mother's Day, so for no other reason, none at all, I would just like to wish all the mommies out there a happy Mother's Day. Jeez. Now, in the gate up ahead, I try to get the XP share, which would really help us at this point, because we're likely gonna overlevel otherwise with only one Pokemon, but we fail miserably. I grab the old rod to fish so we can add a Magikarp to our decks, and even go as far as to find 5% Golbats in the basement of the Oreburgh Gate. While looking for other obscure Pokemon to see to meet the requirements, I realized something. Our next encounter, Ponyta, is actually able to be found not just on Route 206 later, but Route 207 too, a small part of which is accessible just north of Oreburgh. Whoops. Well, that pretty much saves the run. We catch it and nickname it Barty, and Barty has an impish nature plus attack and minus defense. Pretty awesome. We were on 33 out of 35 scenes, so we would have had to wait for nighttime encounters to get the XP share, so thank goodness. With that, it's time to take on the Eterna City Gym. Being a grass-type gym, it was a pretty darn easy task going through the trainers, I can say that much. The third gym leader is Gardenia, and her team is a bit tricky with Turtwig having Reflect, which could cause some problems, but let's go for it. She leads with Turtwig, and I send out Barty. Flame Wheel hits, and is an instant one-hit KO. Alrighty then. Cherim comes out next and actually survives one, but does get burned before immediately hitting us with Grass Knot, so one more does the trick. Her final Pokemon is Roserade, which could paralyze us, but she goes for Stun Spore and misses, but then barely survives in the red before her berry. She then just goes for Magical Leaf though to bring us to around half before another attack takes her down. I had the Cherry Berry on Barty anyway, so paralysis was covered. A pretty solid battle. Second badge. After picking up the damn XP share finally, we can also grab the Thief TM to get type boosting items later on. At the top of the Galactic Building, we encounter Commander Jupiter, and I am much more worried about her than Mars. She leads with a Zubat, so I send up Victor for the Rock Tomb, but it doesn't KO, and she slams us to half with Wing Attack. Ouch. Flame Wheel then does the job from there though. In comes the big threat Skuntank with same type attack bonus or stab, high critical hit ratio Night Slash. I have no choice, so I stay in, and thankfully we do resist it, so we survive on a third before Flame Wheel doesn't do a whole lot. I have no choice but to risk a crit here as we need the damage, and thankfully no crit so we can hit her below half before her berry activates. Now I need to switch, so I go into Barty, and no crit on Night Slash, and it does just under half. Thankfully we outspeed as Flame Wheel brings her low, we just have to hope for no crit, and she doesn't get one, so we're left on just 4 HP before our berry and can slam her for the win. Oh man, that was far too risky. I should have trained up more to be honest. Up ahead, Cynthia asks us to take her egg and will not be refused. Alrighty then, I guess I have to pay child support. Now something really cool is that with just 2 badges in hand, we can use the secret entrance to the Wayward Cave, which is accessible in Platinum, meaning after making it to the end we can grab the amazing Earthquake TM, which should be quite handy later. After a creepy blue-haired man propositions us in a dark cave, we arrive in Hearthome City where, hey, I remember you. Now something very interesting is that this city is actually the location of our next encounter. In one of the houses we can find Bebe? This person, who gifts us an Eevee of all things, which I nickname Igor. Igor ends up having a serious nature, which is neutral. I'll take it. It's of course not a fire type yet, so we won't use it in battle until it evolves, but that will be relatively soon. To get some items, I decided to hit up Amity Square, and I was like, alright, awesome, we finally have a cute Pokemon that we can use to get in, Eevee. But it turns out the lady thinks that Victor is cute? Okay. No offense, Victor, it's just... alright, never mind. It's time for the third gym, which in Platinum is the Hearthome Gym. Because we have strong physical attackers with neutral moves, we're able to handle most of the trainers pretty easily. With that said, I'm looking ahead to the gym leader and I have no idea how we're gonna beat a team like this. I theory crafted for a long time as to how we could possibly accomplish this, and eventually something came to mind. I realized we haven't hit up the old chateau yet, and in here not only can we find the dread plate to increase dark move power, but we can also grab what I think will be a crucial TM, Substitute. After teaching it to Victor, it's time to take on the ghost type gym leader, Fantina. She leads with a level 24 Dusclops and I lead with Victor. Now you might notice my health is not full, but there's a reason for this. I go for Substitute immediately knowing that none of her moves can break it and she only goes for Future Sight. Fine by me. Flame Wheel then does over half and then she uses Pursuit followed by Shadow Sneak, but our Substitute remains as another attack KOs her. The Future Sight attack then hits though and our Substitute goes down. In comes her Haunter next, and I know she loves to use status moves, so I go for Substitute again, and she did as she went for Hypnosis. That Substitute now brings us to very low health, which activates our Blaze ability to power up our fire moves. Now, Flame Wheel is an instant one-hit KO. Amazing. Our final Pokemon is a powerful Mismagius which does outspeed us, but she just went for Magical Leaf. It looks like a weird move choice, but trainers are programmed to use a random move if multiple of them would KO otherwise. But then the next one takes down our Substitute before we hit it again, but it barely survives in the red. Here I'm forced to switch, so I go into Barty as I was planning to anyway, and she uses a Super Potion. Now Barty actually outspeeds her, so we bring her below half again, and then she hits a Shadow Ball, but we get back up above half from our berry before hitting her once more for the win. Incredible. Substitute was definitely the key to winning that battle. I'd say that strategy worked out pretty well. Oh, now you give me the Shadow Claw TM. That would have been incredible for that battle. Before we move on, we have another rival battle with Barry, and this one looks utterly terrifying. The problem is he starts with an Intimidate Staravia now, and both of our Pokemon are physical attackers. Yikes. Regardless, I can't lead with a fighting type against it, so I send in Barty. Knowing he has no super effective moves against Barty and loves to double team, I cross my fingers and switch into Victor to get rid of Intimidate, and he did. Here I switch back into Barty, baiting Wing Attack, but he went for double team again. We then miss our Flame Wheel, and he double teams again. Thankfully we hit one to bring him low, and then his Wing Attack does a bit of damage on us, and we hit our next one to take him down. In comes another huge threat though, Prinplup. Here I go for Stomp, hoping for the flinch, but we don't get it, and he uses Growl. Another Stomp brings him below half, but he makes it through again to hit us with Bubble Beam hard. I have to switch here, so I send in Victor, and Bubble Beam brings us all the way to the red before our berry, and now I can slam him with Return for the KO. From there, his Ponyta could be taken down with 2 returns, only getting off a tackle in the process, and his Roselia was an outspeed one-hit KO with Flame Wheel. Definitely a scary battle, but we managed quite well, I think. A Citrus Berry would have been great for Barty, but you have like a 1 in 60 chance of getting one per day from the Berry Masters, so yeah, that wasn't happening. Picking up another return TM from the Lost Tower, we next arrive in Solaceon Town. Now normally this seems like quite a barren place, but there is something absolutely crucial awaiting us in the Solaceon Ruins. Here we can find an amazing item, the Firestone, which I immediately use on Igor to evolve it into a Flareon, which we can now finally use. Let's go. Route 215 grants us a Fist Plate item, great for Victor, and towards the end of the route I was feeling pretty scared for the double battle at the end, but thankfully these trainers don't have a Gyarados like they do in Diamond and Pearl. You can imagine how brutal that would have been for our team. Also, just thought I'd note that the Helping Hand move came in handy for the first time in my entire Pokemon playing career. Go Igor, go! Veilstone City is upon us, and we can head to the department store to pick up the Natural Gift TM, which might come in handy at some point. We can also see the Massage Lady to give Flareon a massage, as I feel he's probably not too friendly with us yet, but would be a great user of Return. The Game Corner does also have some amazing TMs, but with not much money in our pocket, I just grabbed the Silk Scarf for now to power up Return further. It's time for the Veilstone Gym, and as it turns out, the Return and Silk Scarf combo is great for getting some neutral damage off against the bulky fighting types. The 4th gym leader is the fighting type trainer Maylene, and I think I have a decent plan for her battle. She leads with a Meditite, and I lead with Igor. She uses Fake Out first, but on the next turn, Return is an instant one-hit KO. Machoke then comes out and we outspeed with Return, but it does less than half before she uses super effective Rock Tomb, which brings us below half and drops our speed. I have to switch here, so I go into Victor, who's our only Pokemon not weak to Rock, but our speed is of course dropped. Regardless, we still outspeed and Flame Wheel brings her into the red, but she just used Focus Energy, so another KOs. Her final Pokemon is her ace, Lucario. She outspeeds and slams us with Force Palm to a third before our berry, and then super effective Flame Wheel brings her to a quarter. She would outspeed and KO us here, but thankfully we have super effective Priority Mach Punch, which gets the job done for our 4th badge. Solid. With that, we now have access to Route 214, which has a gold mine of things in store for us. We now get access to much needed citrus berries for the first time, and heading into the Ruin Maniac Cave, we can grab the Dig TM, which should give us some great coverage against fellow fire types. Not only that, but here we can also get a crucial evolutionary item for later on, the Magmarizer. The treasures aren't quite done with yet though, as we have one final one, a brand new encounter, a Pokemon that's usually only available at night, Houndour. Now, one thing that occurred to me immediately as I encountered it is, oh god, these things have roar, don't they? There is another route nearby we can grab one, but to be safe, I immediately throw a Great Ball, and amazingly we got it first try. Would have liked to have had it in a Dusk Ball, but I can't be picky. I name him Karkaroff. I was very much considering naming him Karkaruff, so you're welcome. And Karkaroff ends up having a quiet plus special attack and minus speed nature. Plus special attack is amazing and minus speed is terrible, so I guess it balances out. In no time, with some grinding, Karkaroff evolves into a beastly looking Houndoom, which should be a great addition to the team with some dark coverage. On our way to the next city, we encounter this girl who's looking for her sweet key, and after finding it and bringing it back to her, she ushers us inside. Guess it's time for a reward. A white flute? Ew. What? Running as fast and as far away as possible, we make it to Pastoria City, the location of the next gym. The key for us here though is going to be the Great Marsh, where we can scavenge for all sorts of shards. You see, west of Pastoria is the Move Tutor's house, and here we can do something amazing. Have him teach Victor Thunder Punch and Fire Punch. Incredible upgrades, that's for sure. Not only that, but heading up north a bit, we can grab another crucial TM, Sunny Day. Fantastic. Now, I forget why, but I had gone back into the Great Marsh and encountered a Tropius of all things and was like, hold on, this thing can learn a variety of HMs, and we successfully caught it. Coolest HM Pokemon ever. Now let's use the binoculars to see what special Pokemon are available in the marsh today. Battling some rich kids with the amulet coin nets us enough cash to get the flamethrower TM from the game corner, which is much needed for Karkaroff. While grinding up for the next gym, our starter finally becomes fully evolved, evolving into a monster Infernape. Right before the gym, Barry challenges us to battle, and now we have a perfect counter to his Intimidate Staravia, Karkaroff, who is a special attacker after all, and so is unaffected, being able to blast it with a single flamethrower. Damn. In comes Prinplup next though, so I switch in Victor, and Bubble Beam takes him down to a third before our Citrus Berry. Thunder Punch is great here, yes, but since we have other options, I'm not scared of the defense drops from close combat, which actually has more damage output in the end considering stabs, so I use it, and it's an immediate one-hit KO. In comes his Ponyta, so to be safe and not get too much XP on Victor, I switch into Igor, who demolishes it with Return, and then takes out Rosalia with Return as well. Much more manageable than last time. The Pastoria gym is upon us, and, well, I am terrified. Thankfully for the trainers themselves, we now have Thunder Punch, which does a pretty good job against most of them. The gym leader though, Crasher Wake, is another matter entirely. He has some huge threats for our team, including Intimidate Gyarados and part Ground-type Quagsire. I spent a while theory crafting, and my best strategy is kind of insane, but it just might work. Let's give it a shot. He leads with Intimidate Gyarados, so I send out our only special attacker, Karkaroff. Looks incredibly dangerous with him having Waterfall, I know, but I taught him Sunny Day, and since we outspeed, we can get it off before he attacks, which weakens the power of water moves, and we tank it with just over half remaining after our Citrus Berry restores health. I know I need damage on it, so I go for Sunny Day boosted Flamethrower, and it does just about half before we get hit again, and left on just 7 HP. Oh, A close call, but I knew that it would be. Here I switch in Igor, and he went for Brine, which I was hoping for as it's a bit less damage, and now we can take him down with Return. In comes Quagsire next, and Return hits him for just over half before Rock Tomb slams us below half and drops our speed. Now, we'll likely still outspeed, but I have an idea here. I need more speed on Infernape for later, so I switch him in to tank a Rock Tomb and then switch back into Igor, who gets hit by Mudshot to just 17 HP. Now we can use Return to take him out, and they'll both get XP, allowing Victor to level up and get more speed. Keep in mind, in Hardcore Nuzlocke, you can level up past the level cap mid-battle only. Here I switch in Victor, and I was trying to bait Aqua Jet with Igor at low health, but he uses Brine, and it hits us to a third, but if my calculations are correct, yup, we now outspeed and get the one-hit KO with Fistplate boosted close combat. Oh man, I cannot believe we pulled that off. You are an absolute clown, undeserving of a Battle Frontier member as your father. With that out of the way, we make it to Celestic Town and we can grab the black glasses from one of the houses. This guy will also give you the choice specs in the morning time, so we'll have to come back and do that tomorrow. In the ruins, we encounter Galactic Leader Cyrus, who challenges us to battle. At this point, he's not too scary, but we still have to be careful. He leads with a Sneasel, and I send out Victor for the stab, 4 times damage, priority Mach Punch, 1-hit KO. Golbat comes out next, and I hit him with Thunder Punch for 3/4, and then Air Cutter slams us with a crit down to just 13 HP. Sheesh. Another attack then does the job though. Its final Pokemon is Murkrow, and a crit Drill Peck on a switch would kill anything that we have, so since it's part Dark type, I go for neutral close combat, which immediately KOs. For winning, we're awarded with the Surf HM from Cynthia's grandma, which opens up a whole new world for us. First, north of the Valley Windworks, we can grab the Thunderbolt TM, which should be amazing for our very next encounter, which we can find using Surf to the Fuego Ironworks. A butt-faced Magmar, which we catch and nickname... well, I messed up, and we'll discuss that later when I fix it. Also, I caught him on a quick ball after like 15 other balls failed to work. Seems legit. In the Ironworks building, we can also grab another Flamethrower TM, which saves us having to get like 10,000 Game Corner coins. After picking up the Miracle Seed from the meadow to boost grass moves, which, yes, we might actually use, it's time for another evolution. This time, we can Trait Evolve Magmar with the Magmarizer attached to get a giant Magmortar, a Pokemon I've never been able to use, so I can't wait for this. Arriving in Cantalave City has us encounter our second last battle with Barry, and I think he's gonna hate our new encounter. Avoiding his newly evolved Staraptor's Intimidate, we can Thunderbolt the hell out of it for the 1-hit KO. In comes Empoleon next, and Thunderbolt doesn't quite KO, and then Bubble Beam does massive damage on us down to just 10 HP. Closer than expected. Since we outspeed though, we can take him down with another. In comes Rapidash now, and I have to switch, so I send out Igor, who tanks Takedown, and then can use Dig for the super effective KO. Heracross is up next, and hoping to bait Brick Break, I switch into Victor, and we do, so now a single Fire Punch outspeed does the trick. And then his Roserade is of course easily handled with another. This team is definitely starting to come together. After grinding at the Iron Island and picking up some items from it, the next gym is the Cantalave City Gym, and here Karkaroff performs amazingly, melting all the steel types with Flamethrower. The 6th gym leader is Rourke's father, Byron, and I'm not feeling too concerned about him. As expected, Karkaroff obliterates both his Magneton and his Steelix in 1 hit each, and then in comes his Bastiodon. Just to play it safe, I switch into Victor, and I was expecting a Stone Edge, but he just went for Taunt of all things, so... a 4 times damage, 120 power, stab, fistplate boosted close combat annihilates him. Too bad Sturdy only blocks actual 1-hit KO moves in this gen, huh, Byron? After the Galactic Bomb goes off while we're in the library, Rowan tells us to be careful going down the stairs. Yeah, whatever, man. Hold on. Something's a bit fishy here. We easily handle Jupiter's Toxicroak with our newly taught Earthquake on Victor and head to Lake Verity to take on Commander Mars. Barty destroys her Bronzor, and then since I knew Perugly would use Priority Fake Out, I take the opportunity to switch into Victor, who is one of the few Pokemon in the game who can outspeed a Perugly. No, I'm serious, this thing outspeeds Latios, and close combat ends her career. In Mount Cornet, we then pick up the soft sand to boost ground moves, how convenient, and then we travel through the treacherous snow routes of 216 and 217, during which Earthquake proved mightily helpful against fellow fire types, which otherwise might have caused some trouble, and we arrive in the majestic Snow Point City. Alright, not much to say here, as I'm sure you can imagine, aside from the usual 14 hours spent trying to figure out the gym puzzle, this gym was an absolute steamroll, being an ice-type gym, as Victor could sweep through Candace's entire team with either Fire Punch or close combat. Was definitely a nice little break. Plowing through the Veilstone Galactic HQ has us arrive at Cyrus, who has become a bit more powerful since last time, and against his Sneasel I lead with Magmortar. He uses Screech on us, kind of unfortunate actually, before Flamethrower takes him down immediately. In comes Crobat next, who smashes us with Poison Fang to below half, but burns himself on our Flame Body ability, and I had attached the magnet item that we got from Iron Island, so Thunderbolt eviscerates him afterwards. His final Pokemon is Honchkrow, and since it actually loses a lot of speed from evolving, I stay in and outspeed with Thunderbolt for another KO. Come to think of it, if we had gotten confused from Crobat, that could have been incredibly dangerous, but we're all good for now. Up ahead comes something kind of funny. After learning Flare Blitz as Ponyta at level 46, I decide it's time to let Barty evolve into a gorgeous Rapidash, and since we hadn't used him in so long, I forgot that we had named him Barty as well, just like we did with Magmortar. First time I've done that before. Whoops. To the name raider we go. Hello, Mr. Sir. I am a grave idiot and require your assistance. Ah, there we go. Mad-Eye it is. A long trip brings us to the peak of Mount Coronet, where we have a double battle with Barry against Commanders Mars and Jupiter, and normally this is quite a tough battle, but being able to stop dual screens being set up on us by Bronzor, since we have super effective moves against them for once, was a blessing. Oh, and we got a crit on Skuntank, which was nice too. As usual, I made sure not to allow Skuntank and Perugly to be on the field at the same time, which can be a huge mistake, and overall it went pretty smoothly with Mad-Eye's type coverage and Victor's raw fighting type power pulling us through, especially since Perugly has thick fat, so fire moves aren't very effective against it. Cyrus then screws up the entire time-space continuum. What an absolute curse of a child you have to be to accomplish that, and we chase him into the strange hole in the fabric of space-time to get to the distortion world. A long journey brings us to him and Cynthia at the end, where we face him in battle one last time, and his team is quite scary at this point. He leads with a troublesome Pokemon for us, Houndoom, and I realize that he's gonna switch in Intimidate Gyarados after we take it out, so I have to lead with a special attacker no matter what. Problem is, Thunderbolt is our best move and is neutral, but it does just over half, and 2 take him down after he hit us with a Dark Pulse for a third. This baits in the Gyarados, of course, which is now perfect since we can outspeed and take him down with a 4x super effective Thunderbolt. Nice. From there, his Honchkrow is then a 1-hit KO as well, and in comes his new Weavile. He will definitely outspeed and would KO with the crit Night Slash, so I switch into Victor, who resists it, but he went for Fake Out. Alright, that works too. His coverage is brutal against Victor, so he just gets off an Ice Punch before 4x super effective close combat ends his life. His final Pokemon is Crobat, which would destroy us with Air Slash, so I have to switch. I go into Igor, who tanks it nicely, but then gets hit by Confuse Ray on the next turn. We make it through for a return though, which does over half. Thankfully, I had double checked and realized he has Cross Poison now, which has a high critical hit ratio, so to play it safe, especially with Confusion, I switch into Karkaroff, who tanks it with above half, but now we just have to hope for no crit, and he doesn't get it, and with us at just 16 HP, we can take him down with one last attack. Sheesh. Definitely a scary one. Without Mad-Eye, I don't even think that battle would be possible, to be honest. It's time to take on the legendary Pokemon and King of the Distortion. Okay then. Karkaroff is a perfect matchup against this thing, and to come to think of it, these are 2 of the most hellish Pokemon in existence. What a matchup. After a totally civil discussion with our Fire-type arch-nemesis Flint, we arrive in Sunyshore City where the last gym is. As an Electric-type gym, I was pretty much able to attach the soft sand on Victor and have him go crazy with Earthquake, as thankfully he outspeeds even speedy Electric types. The 8th gym leader is Volkner, and I'm feeling pretty good about handling his team. Normally speed is on his side, but not this time. He leads with one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, Jolteon, but because of the level discrepancy, we can still outspeed and KO him with Earthquake. The same is then true of his Raichu and his Electivire too. His final Pokemon is a Luxray, and amazingly it survives an Earthquake, hits us with Thunderfang, and paralyzes us. Oof. I know he'll heal though, so I go for another, and we make it through to bring him to the red. He'll now outspeed though, so I have to switch. I go into Barty here, who tanks Thunderfang with above half, and then a massive power Flare Blitz ends the battle and wins us our 8th and final badge. Let's go. Setting off the victory road involves Barry being the worst wingman of all time when it comes to Jasmine, who, as kind as she is, pities us and gives us the Waterfall HM. Victory Road is a long and perilous journey during which we find a key TM, Dark Pulse, which will be incredible for Karkaroff. The end of the road brings us to our final destination, the Pokemon League. Before entering the Elite Four, we have one final battle with Barry, but because we can fulfill the rest of our EVs and get our Pokemon to really high levels comparatively since the level cap is the League's level cap, this battle wasn't too much of a challenge, although Mad Eye failed to KO Empoleon again and nearly got taken down by Brine, and Snorlax hit Victor hard with Earthquake before close combat saved the day. Aside from that, Barty's 4x super effective bounce was quite helpful against Heracross, and we of course had to engage in a Rapidash v Rapidash showdown, during which he used Sunny Day and merely powered up our Flame Wheel against his Roserade. With insane preparation like a madman, getting any remaining items and TMs we need, and theory crafting like crazy, it's time for the Elite Four. The first Elite Four member is Aaron, the Bug-type trainer. Seems easy on the face of it, but his Drapion is a major problem. I had led with Victor with low health to activate Blaze, hoping for a sweep, but after KOing Yanmega with Fire Punch I realized, oh, his Drapion has Aerial Ace, so it would be sent out next. There goes that plan. I switch into Igor here, but he went for Cross Poison instead, and then he outspeeds and hits us again to the red before we got a Dig Off, which hits him below half before his berry activates. I have to switch though, so I switch in Karkaroff, and he preemptively switches himself into Vespiquen. Alrighty then. This actually works out in our favor, as now we can Flamethrower sweep the entire rest of his team since his Drapion had some damage on it. I'll take it. Up next is one of the biggest challenges in the game, Bertha, the Ground-type trainer. I kid you not, I think I spent over half an hour theory crafting for this battle alone. I was thinking of doing a Heat Rock, Sunny Day, and Solar Beam strat with Mad Eye, but the problem is Hippowdon, which would cancel Sunny Day out automatically with its Sandstream ability. However, I eventually came up with perhaps the only other plan that might work. Here goes nothing. She leads with a Whiscash, so I send out Mad Eye, who I taught the natural gift TM to and gave a Rostberry. This gives us a 60 power grass move, which thankfully was enough to KO. In comes Hippowdon, and now we can use Sunny Day here after Sandstorm starts, which would then allow us to use Solar Beam. Problem is, Earthquake is a range to kill here, and she gets the KO. Are you kidding me? I also couldn't Rare Candy Mad Eye to 59 because he would have passed the level cap before the last Pokemon, and well, then something would have to get Switch-In KO'd anyway since they pretty much all have Earthquake. That minus defense nature costed us big time. Rest in peace, Mad Eye. Initiating my backup plan, I can now send in Karkaroff, who I also taught Solar Beam to, and in the sun it's a one-turn move so he can sweep through her entire team from there. To think we almost pulled off a battle like that deathless, I'm proud of that strategy, but the range wasn't quite there. Up next is our arch nemesis, the Fire-type Elite Four member, Flint. Our best strategy here I think is to go for Victor with the Metronome item attached, which increases the power of a move if it's used consecutively. This way I can spam Earthquake, which takes down his Houndoom, and then he sends out Infernape. Now, I thought he'd send out Rapidash next since it has super effective bounce and is next in his party line, but he went for this I believe since it has Earthquake and it survives Earthquake and does huge damage down to below half on us. However, this causes him to heal, which means we can get 2 more attacks off, and that kind of works out in our favor with the Metronome, powering us up enough to be able to sweep through the rest of his team, even his Magmortar. A crit on that Earthquake would have been devastating, but we made it through. The last Elite Four member is Lucian, the Psychic-type Elite Four member, and he is one for whom I theory crafted for a long time, but couldn't seem to get around his Gallade in my head because otherwise a Houndoom Choice Specs Dark Pulse strat could have been reasonable until Focus Blast Alakazam comes in, who would be handled by Flareon or something. In the end, I decided to lead with Victor against his Mr. Mime, just going for Flare Blitz, which he recently learned, for the instant KO on both it and Espeon too. Because of the recoil, I attached a citrus berry which helped negate some of it, and were able to outspeed and take down even his Alakazam too. In comes his Gallade though, and at this point, I've kind of accepted what needs to be done since nothing can one-hit KO this thing. I send in Rapidash, who tanks Psycho Cut with above half remaining, then just hope for a crit or burn with Flare Blitz, but we get neither, and then I hoped for a Stone Edge miss, but nope. And our Citrus Berry didn't heal us enough to tank it. Ouch. From there though, Karkaroff can now take it and his Bronzong down with Choice Specs Flamethrower. After using the rest of our rare candies and with just 3 Pokemon remaining, it's time. The final challenge, the Sinnoh Region champion, Cynthia. Her team is obviously terrifying, and while theory crafting, the only viable option we had came to mind. She leads with a Spiritomb, so I send out Victor. I taught Victor the Swords Dance TM from the game corner and use it as she hits us to below half with Psychic before our berry, and then a Swords Dance boosted Flare Blitz KOs instantly. In comes Milotic next, which would have otherwise been the bane of our existence, but close combat does the job. In comes Togekiss, and it feels very weird since it got the Fairy type later on, but since it's part normal in this gen, close combat is neutral against it and gets the one-hit KO. In comes Garchomp next, and it somehow survives close combat on a sliver. Oh no, not like this. Victor then gets obliterated by Dragon Rush after her berry. Well, it looks like it's over from here. Both of our Pokemon are outsped, and the damn thing has Earthquake of all things. I send in Igor just hoping for some sort of miracle, and she goes for Dragon Rush, and our boy survives it on just 13 HP. How in the world? We then take it down with Return. Why didn't she just use Earthquake? I guess she saw it was a KO range to kill and just went for Dragon Rush instead. In comes Lucario next, and unfortunately has extreme speed to instantly KO Igor. It's all down to this. Karkaroff comes out and annihilates it with super effective Flamethrower, and the same goes for her final Pokemon, Roserade, to win us the championship. Unreal. I can't tell you how over I thought that was, but Igor, you legend. We did it. We beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum with only fire types. They were just about as frail as I thought, but we did have some surprising tricks and strategies up our sleeves that really made me have to think, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I hope you had fun with this run, and if you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as it really does help a lot and grows our community. A huge thanks to my YouTube members and patrons who make these videos possible. If you'd like to support and get your name up here, the links are also down below. If you enjoyed, drop a like down below to help the video out and leave a comment letting me know what kind of run we should do next, and I'll see you guys for our next challenge video.